Okay, we are live. Hi there.
Hi.
How are
Good
you?
to see you again.
I
Yeah.
know. I'm
Yeah.
I'm this month went by really fast, but I think I'm still flying high off of getting all that like in-person time with people and
Yeah.
everything that happened at the conference at the end of July that it does I'm like how is it September? Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
having that feeling right now. It
Yeah. Yeah. That was pretty special. Yeah.
was good.
That yeah. I don't know what I expected, but I will say I was very pleasantly surprised by Agile 2025 this year. I had a great time, and it's so delightful to see old friends, meet new people that I'd never met before. I mean, it's just great. Yeah.
Yeah, I went in very much like wanting to just appreciate it.
Yeah.
Not for what it was or what
Yeah.
has changed, but just to just appreciate its impact.
Yeah.
It's part of my history, right? Like part of this community.
Mhm.
And so I went in very much just wanting to experience.
Yeah.
And I did. Like
Yeah.
it was just wonderful,
Yeah.
start to finish.
Yeah.
And I can say also that there is an element that when you're not organizing, you're not on the board, it is more enjoyable.
Yes. Yes.
And I
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
that obviously I wouldn't take any of those years back. I mean, there's moments I take back, but like I wouldn't
Yeah.
take any of it back. But on the same note, it is kind of nice to be like, not my problem.
Yes.
I'm just
Oh,
here to experience. I'm just an attendee. I will happily
yeah.
provide. I will happily engage.
Right.
But
Well, and that fits into our topic today.
oh yeah, that
You
it
have
does.
transitioned for being part of the organizing to being a participant. I mean, it's just a different role.
Yeah,
You still have responsibilities. You still maybe more to yourself or to your clients,
and you
than
still
you did to the
care. You
conference, and
still
you
are
still
invested.
care. Yes, but
Oh,
you've transitioned to a different role at the conference. Yeah.
that's fantastic. I didn't even think about, and it took like you're right. It's 100% exactly on point for this topic because it
Yeah.
wasn't easy. It wasn't a slow. It wasn't a quick. I'm sorry. It wasn't
Right.
a quick transition. Like
Right.
it was. I think this might have been the first year that I really kind of did feel that separation and that just
Yeah.
embracing this role.
Yeah.
And in my case, returning role, right? Like to
Yeah.
attendee beforehand, but it was just it was an amazing, it was
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Cool.
so we highlighted what today's topic is, but we're
Yeah.
as we head in the fall, my daughter's starting college, and I think about her transition and things like that. That transitions did
Yeah.
seem like a good topic to kind of discuss and talk
Yeah.
about. And we'll come at it from a little bit in terms of like tips, maybe for dealing with transitions, maybe
Yeah.
and even some possibility of identifying when a transition is kind of needed,
Yeah. Yeah.
potentially.
I think that's a great idea. And it's funny because I am speaking at, at a couple of events coming up in September. I'll talk about them more later. But for one of them, Agile Prague, my topic is engaging in turbulent times, which is a lot about transitions and about going from what we have thought of as normal into something new that we don't necessarily know what to expect from it. And so I've been thinking about this a lot
So
as
it's
I'm preparing
perfect.
for that. Yeah, it's a perfect topic for
Well,
us, I think.
let's start there then.
Yeah.
Let's highlight a little bit of like how do you know that it's time for a transition, time for a change, like time to make an adjustment, and not just I mean learning something, not just a tweak, but like a true
Yeah.
I am I am going from here, almost a pivot, right? Or
Yes.
a true
Yeah.
adjustment perspective, right? Like much
Yeah.
bigger
Well,
than a change, but a transition.
yeah.
How do
Yeah.
you
No,
know?
I know because I get more and more uncomfortable with the what I have been regarding as the status quo. I it starts feeling like not a fit. I'm feeling more frustrated with the things I need to do every day. There's just this sort of feeling in me that something needs to change. This isn't where I am right now. And when I look back over the course of my life, which is a considerable course at this point, I look at the big times of pivot when I've really had to like go from being having one kind of role or thinking of myself in one kind of way to a different kind of role. That's always been what's happened for me. It's like I've always just become really uncomfortable. A friend of mine once described it. He says it's like we've got this internal blackboard, and it's like nails on the blackboard.
Oh, why did you have to go there?
And whiteboards don't do that. So I don't know if everybody's had that experience now, but it's just that sense, that internal, like, this isn't how I want things to be. This isn't where I'm comfortable. Or even, there's not enough challenge even. I mean, it's not necessarily about comfort, but it's more about discomfort, I think. It's not that I'm seeking comfort. It's like whatever the current discomfort is, I don't want to stick with it. And may not even know what the next thing is, but I start looking. And sometimes I don't even know that I have already started looking. But I have,
so that's more of my lane. Like I wish I could say, oh yes, I know that I'm discomfort. I know I need to. I always feel like it's not that I fall into it. I am, we've talked about this before. I'm willing to take opportunities, like even the opportunity to write the book with you, right? Like I am not passing this opportunity up. And that opened up a whole realm of transitions that I didn't realize I wanted to take and needed to take.
Yeah.
And what I find my pattern has been, I take some opportunity, I do something, or something presents itself. I get a taste of it, and then I see the potential, I see the impact, and then I just have such a strong desire of purpose and impact and things that then I'm like, okay, I'm doing it, right? And I just head down that path. So I think I tend to, we've talked about this before, I think I have kind of the opportunity transitions because I take opportunities, because I explore those things. I then see the potential. I see the interest. Like, for example, when I wanted to move to Colorado, I basically had reached out to the community and was like, somebody give me a job so I can quit, which made me sad. I loved my job. I loved the company I was at, but I wanted to move to Colorado. And instantly someone was like, I'll hire you. I'm like, okay, but I'm only going to do it for a year until I move. And then I'm not going to do that anymore. Right. Like that was in my head, that I'm a practitioner. I need to be leading a big team again. Like this is my identity. And then I did it for the year and I was like, oh, I want to be doing this and I want to be doing that. And so I think I find my transitions are a little bit more reactive based on opportunities.
Yeah, well, that's interesting that you say it that way, because I think my, internal kerfuffle that's going on gets me ready to see the opportunities. It's like it's causing me to look around and, where am I going to find another opportunity? Where am I going to, and that, I mean, that's played out for me this year over the summer. And now, I mean, there have been a number of new kinds of opportunities and new opportunities for pivots that I hadn't really thought about before, but because part of me was getting ready for that.
You were willing to embrace it.
I could see them and embrace them and say, yes, okay, this is what I'm going to say yes to. I'm also very fortunate, I think, that I have always been guided by my very strong sense of purpose. So I look for the doors to open that are going to let me fulfill my purpose. And that helps me distinguish between different opportunities.
So then here's a twist on this based on a question we just got from Dylan. Any thoughts
Mm-hmm.
about times when, based on your purpose, you see these opportunities, your first reaction was yes, and then
Yeah.
you're like, no.
Oh,
and, and
yeah.
mine was going back to practitioner mode after I was doing a little bit of independent advisor. And for me, there was wording that got kind of said to me. It was like, I was like, no, this is the change that I need to make. I need to go back to practitioner. And I do love being a practitioner. But the thing was, is the scale I was able to influence, to impact, wasn't fulfilling to me. It was causing that discomfort and things. And I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Do you have one where you were like, your transition was like, this is it? Like, I think this is it. And then you were like, nope, this is not it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. When I had my consultancy open for a while, maybe it's similar to yours. I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah.
had my consultancy open for a while, and then I ended up in the situation where my husband and I were deciding, my ex-husband now, and I were deciding to separate. And I was kind of freaked out. I knew that was the thing that needed to happen, but I was kind of freaked out by it because it felt like I was giving up some kind of security or something. And so I got a job. And and several months into the job, it wasn't that long actually. Several months into the job, I had an experience of we were in a staff meeting, and um, I asked my boss, my new boss, a question about assignments and about things that didn't seem to me to be working very well. I mean, I kind of went into consulting mode, right? Um and his chin started to wiggle, and he was clearly getting upset with me, and I was like, in that moment I was like, oh, maybe I am unemployable. You know, because people had told me, oh, you've been a consultant too long, you're unemployable now. It's like, well, maybe I am, I don't know. It's like this boss doesn't seem to be comfortable with having the full me present. He only wants a little slice of me. He wants the little slice of me that is well known in my community, and that gives him some status for having hired me. But he doesn't want the other parts of me that come along with that.
That
And
that earned that status, right?
yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, that was a big time when I realized, oh, I took an opportunity, and I didn't take the opportunity for the right reasons.
Mhm.
Again, it wasn't because a door opened for me that would help me fulfill my purpose. It was, I was scared, and I was afraid I wouldn't be able to make enough money to keep myself on my own. And that turned out not to be the case.
And I
So
think
I look,
that's an
yeah,
interesting part.
yeah,
Is even when it turned out to be a no,
yeah,
I could then transition again, right?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it wasn't, that was just information for me.
yeah, yeah.
And then I could figure things out. And we both say this not like oh, just
Yeah.
quit your job tomorrow, right? Like we're not
No,
saying
no,
it
no, no,
flippantly by any means.
no.
Is um but there is those dynamics
Yeah,
with things.
yeah. But what happened for me is, and I can't speak for you, but I started looking for those other opportunities,
Yeah.
and it took me a while. It took me a while to get to the place, and a year, maybe a year and a half, maybe a year and a quarter or something, before I really saw my way out. Um, and but all that time I was aware that I was looking for that, and I was trying to do the best job I could where I was, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to stay there. And particularly when I started noticing that I was making decisions and choices about the work based on basically the fact that I had been co-opted into the culture. And it's like, no, I'm not useful here anymore, because I can't, I'm now too much a part of it to be able to use my best judgment.
Well, and that's another tip for
You know,
transition
yeah,
time is when you don't feel
yeah,
you can add value. Like
yeah,
that is a dynamic. So let's talk about tips in terms of transitions.
okay,
Things that when we are making kind of an identity transition, new role, new dynamic, new kind,
right,
not just a change, but like a
right,
transition. Tips that you have, and I piggybacking off how we started this call with it. For me, a little bit is realizing that I do live with kind of multiple identities for a little bit. Like I can't just turn one identity. Same thing applied when I was moving from developer into leader. It didn't mean I just turned all my tech skills off
right,
or all my knowledge there. And but am I running to it out of comfort? Am I running to it? Am I holding on to that previous identity because it gives me a false sense of security because it was my identity, right? And so
yeah,
like I had to start learning how to honor that, recognize it, but not hold on to it as if I'm protecting it versus going, it's okay. I can do that. And if nobody knows I did that, that's fine. This is what I'm doing. And so there was a little bit of learning how to identify with my full career and not just in any current role, if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That does make sense. Yeah. Um. So say the question again.
When you're transitioning, like you're doing a big transition, big pivot,
Right, right.
what's a tip that you have to do to
Oh,
accomplish
yeah,
that transition?
right.
Right. So
Yeah.
for
No,
me,
I
I
was
have to
like,
kind of honor
yeah,
all the various
yeah,
identities.
yeah,
What
yeah,
what do you do?
yeah. I thought about that, but then I got so engaged with
I
what
know.
you were saying, it's been out of my head. Actually, for me, how part of how my extroversion exhibits itself is I'm like Mr. Rogers. I'm looking around for the helpers, right? I look for the allies, the people I'm going to tell about the fact that I'm going through a transition, or that I'm looking at it down a new road or a new path in some way, and so that I can get that. It's not really for external validation, but it is just being able to know that I've got a support group around me. So for me, that's important. I don't know if that would be as important for someone who's extremely introverted, but
I think
even then,
community in general is important.
if you've got one or two really close friends that you can confide in about it and that know you well enough to give you feedback about, wow, that seems like a good fit for you, or really, you really think that's where you want to go? Um, that I feel like that's really important because this is a tough thing to do, particularly if you're doing it consciously and in full awareness that I'm going to take this risky step. And so you need supporters around. And so I always look for that. Um, yeah.
I think the other thing I do during big transitions, because I'm a check mark person, right? I want my check marks. And so I really align with that purpose of why I'm making this transition. What am I trying to accomplish? And I seek out those achievements, those little things along the lines that say, yes, I am transitioning from this identity into this identity currently, and that's growth. Like it's the acceptance of the first tip, but also then going, well, what does that look like in terms of success? And I don't mean success in a way that's like OKRs and measures. I mean in ways that make me feel momentum, right? We've talked a lot about that in different things. And because my brain is wired to look for the successes of my old. And so when I'm in a new dynamic, like even if I'm in the attendee space, right? My success for the Agile conference for so long was about everybody else, like not about what I was experiencing at the conference. Because as a board member, as the organizer, that like my success criteria for that conference were completely different than what they were this year. I had to stop and actually think, what would success look like for me this year? Like, what is it? And that's what got me to it's the experience. I just want to make the connection, spend time, learn a little, like engage, have fun, laugh, dance, right? And I had to like prime my brain to look for those things in the new and not focus on the old that my brain was accustomed to.
And there's so many of these things where we're kind of looking at the same thing, but from different perspectives. I'm not a check mark person, as you know, but I am a learner. And when I start noticing that I need to make this shift or I identify an opportunity, I want to learn everything I can about it. I want to, the more I learn about it, the more I become aware, actually, even of the new questions. I learn a thing that makes some kind of change in me, and then I have new questions or I see new things I want to learn. And when I can really get engaged with that, it also gives me confidence in the shift that I'm making. It really helps me to do that. So, the shift, I'm in a transition right now of rethinking how I present myself in the world. I presented myself in one way for a very long time, and now I'm ready for something new to be determined. I'll share it later, everybody. Don't get ready for it yet. But with that, I'm, looking for people who have information for me. I'm looking for what new ways do I need to think about things, and practicing with those, and just a lot about what is it I need to learn to be able to present what's still me, but in a new way, in a new light.
The new journey, the new evolution.
Yeah, it's a new evolution. And I'm not quite going from a juicy caterpillar to a butterfly, but
we will see. We will be the judge of that.
There is that transition that a person needs to make, where you have to do some internal for it really to be a true transition. You're really making, it's not just a simple change, but something that is more complex, more rich. You do have to change a bit on the inside and be ready to do that and be open to doing that. And I guess that would be another tip is, be open to not only what new opportunities might come your way, but what might happen within you to be able to embrace those opportunities and to make them the most real for you that you can.
We're at time already. Where can people find you coming up?
I'm going to be at Bar Camp Leipzig, Agile Bar Camp Leipzig, on the 11th and 12th in Leipzig, Germany, on September 11th and 12th, and then at Agile Prague on the 15th and 16th. I've added a new opportunity, which is I'm going to be at the European Organization Design Forum Conference in Budapest on the
Eat all the fried dough. Eat all the fried dough.
19th and 20th of September. And then when I come back to Portland, I'm going to be speaking at Pacific Northwest Software Quality Conference. And then one more thing, I'm going to be at Code Camp IASI in Romania on October 22nd, 23rd.
Nice.
And I'm doing a workshop on liftoff there on team chartering, and then being part of a larger event. So I'm really hoping I'll get to meet some people there that maybe have been following me for a while that I've not had a chance to meet yet, or meet new people. So I always like adding to my network on LinkedIn.
There's
So
never enough. Never enough.
there's never enough. Yeah.
I have limited public stuff coming up, but I am going to be at Star West in the Disneyland, California area in September. Nice. I will be in Star Canada in Toronto in October. And then I do have a couple public virtuals that I'm going to do at the close of the year. I think I'm going to do one final certified Scrum Master for anybody that might need it. I'm going to maybe do one last one, and maybe one last advanced CSM before the end of this year, and then closing those out for myself. Speaking of transitions, with those, and so I do have a couple publics coming up, and you can see those on my website. Otherwise, not as many conferences for me. I've only got 2 left for this year.
Yeah, these I don't know. These just have bloomed for me in the fall. This
I
year,
like it.
so
I like it.
It's awesome.
I do. Yeah. I mean, they come up when they come up. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So otherwise, if you have a future topic you want us to cover, let us know. We will be back on October 7th.
Bye.